Hello and welcome to the Backtracking episode proper for Fugazi, and we start with the band's debut album Repeater. Released in 1990, it would come through Discord Records, and it would be produced by the band themselves and Ted Nicely. As usual, I covered a lot of the lead up to this album, so we'll just start with the first track titled Turnover. It's a great start for the album, showing some bendy, smooth-sounding punk riffs and solid vocal deliveries, and it sets a good groundwork for what follows. And what follows is very enjoyable indeed. This album is a fun taste of punk rock energy encapsulated across a 30-minute blaster. Let's try and crack this down though. So the riffs on display are actually pretty slick, adding a lot of twist to the style which I wasn't expecting, and I was pleasantly surprised by them. I like the lyrics too, snarling and biting in that classical punk satirical way, covering things like greed, corporations, commercialism, all juggled up and handled well. It's got some solid production with a raw feeling, making the songs all flow together nicely and giving equal time to all the elements on display. The performances are great too, with everyone putting in the work, all playing off of each other wonderfully, and the structuring has a solid, consistent pacing, mixing things up nicely and never getting lost in its way. My favourite song goes to Reprovisional. Repeater is a phenomenal debut, full of great performances, smart songwriting and brilliant pacing. Next is the band's second album, Steady Diet of Nothing. Released in 1991, it would again come out through Discord Records and it would be produced by Fugazi again. So after Repeater, the band showed their more DIY side, as that album didn't really chart on Billboard, but they played about 250 shows over the course of a year, selling out a lot of smaller venues and selling over 300,000 copies of the album, which was big at the time. And it would lead wonderfully into this album, which starts with Exit Only, and actually it's a really good showing of the band's more hardcore side. Right from the gate, Steady Diet of Nothing is a much faster and angrier album, and it does me a great joy to talk about it. It shows really nice pacing with the riffs, and all the instrumental work coalesces really nicely with each other. And it works with the punk edge and attitude, which is again expressed through the band's lyrics, which talk about lies and politics, fascism and liberalism with a very snarky light. The performances are again solid, energetic, compassionate and always entertaining, as the band themselves are. The production is also great, all raw and concrete and not really all that polished, which adds to it, I think, oddly enough. And again, it's got really great structuring, really good pacing, and they keep finding inventive ways to fill the, again, not very long time. My favourite song goes to Nice New Outfit. Oh, thanks script. Steady Diet of Nothing has a great title, and it's also a killer of an album with really good work all around. Next up is the band's third album, In on the Kill Taker. Released in 1993, it would have the same label, with Fugazi being rejoined by Ted Nicely to produce, which wasn't the plan. It was initially recorded with Steve Albini and was meant to be an EP, but it got too big and the band were unhappy with the result, so they pushed it back a bit. It starts with the song Facet Squared, and again, it's just a straight up post-hardcore punk banger. In fact, the whole album is full of them, and it's widely seen as Fugazi's best work. It was their first to hit the Billboard charts on release, and it would put their name on people's lips too, and it's for a damn good reason. The instrumental stuff shows the band's typically diverse side, but there's more aggression to their playing here, which works for me. The lyrics are a sharp-toned critique of celebrity lifestyle and how America committed genocide against Native Americans, which is all in good fun. The band again all just come out swinging, pushing themselves and learning more of their pacing, and it's all just really good shit. The production is, again, great, and it's nice that Ted was brought back into the fold, as he just lets so much of this album feel free and organic. And structure-wise, oh my god, yes. It's dynamic, it's strong, and it doesn't whiplash you too far either way. That's just phenomenal work. My favourite song goes to Rend It. In on the Kill Taker is another brilliant piece of work, showing the band arguably at their strongest and doing some of their best work to date. Next is the band's fourth album, Red Medicine. Released in 1995, it would come out through Discord again, it was produced by the band themselves. So, In on the Kill Taker paid off gangbusters, and the band turned down major offers from Atlantic Records, and even declining headlining tour of Lollapalooza. God, the more I read about them, the more I love them. Anyway, they spent most of the time between jamming and recording for this album. It starts with the song Do You Like Me, and this is the album where the band started to get a bit more experimental with their sound. This is the album where the band took on the art rock label, and there's elements of noise and psychedelic thrown in too, and it kind of works. Honestly, the experimentation and the fact that the band produced it themselves gave them free range to go mental, and go mental they did indeed do. The instrumental work is bouncy, the riffs being more diverse and colourful without stripping away too much of the punk edge. The lyrics are a bit tricky to go over, but I think there's more political stuff along with themes like love and anxiety. The performances are again solid with more variety to everyone's playing, and you can tell that they're just really enjoying it. Production-wise, it's solid, again made to feel more raw and organic, and the structure has a better flow than I expected, smoothly hopping from song to song. My favourite song goes to Forensic Scene. Red Medicine is weird, but it's definitely the best kind of weird, and Fugazi made a lot more of it work than you would think. Next is the band's fifth album, End Hits. Released in 1998, it came out through the same label, and it was produced by the same people. So after Red Medicine, the band went on a hell of a tour to get it promoted, and they were back in the studio in 1997 to record this one. And speaking of, this album starts with the song Break, which is an interesting way to start the album off. So this album takes the more experimental side of Red Medicine and ups that by a lot, and a lot of critics back then weren't super keen on it. Of course, the album would pull a Pinkerton and become more finely looked at years later, but still. Regardless of that, yeah, I think this album is just a really nice follow-up to Red Medicine. The instrumental work just dances all over this album, and the timing is honestly mind-boggling to think of. The lyrics are, again, more abstract, but I think themes are individuality, freedom and self-hope? Maybe? The production feels fresh with more experimentation there as well, like layered drums and more synth work. The performances are as great as you would come to expect, with Ian MacKaye sounding as good as ever. And the structuring is good, adding a lot to make even the longer songs feel like a breeze. My favourite song goes to Closed Captions. End Hits is another solid album, building up strongly on the band's foundations with some really smart outside-the-box thinking. And finally, we reached the band's sixth and last album, The Argument. Released in 2001, it was released through Discord and it was produced by Fugazi alongside Don Zientara. I hope I'm saying that correctly. There's not a lot to say for end hits, as the band got to demoing and jamming for this one about a year after their album was released, so let's just assume that they got a tour in the time between. Anyway, this album starts with an intro track titled Untitled and then goes into the first actual song, Cash Out, and, well, there's a reason that the critics call this the band's best album. Cash Out establishes a strong start that does not lose pace at all, being a fast-paced banger. But that's not all, as the whole album shows the best sides of the band, which is all of their sides? The instrumental work is as gorgeous as usual, some solid riffs and damn good drum work. The lyrics cover more political aspects, done a bit more subtly with topics like religion and war as well. The performances are super solid again, and the band damn near sweat themselves dry here. The production is solid, with the band's intelligence showing off well in that aspect, and it's even put together nicely, brilliantly sequenced, chock full of blinders. My favourite song goes to Expectator. The Argument is a fantastic way to close out the band's career, and if they ever return, they have a hell of a legacy to live up to. So that's it for another stonking episode. I've really been liking this season so far, and yeah, thanks to my friend Adam aka Raimundo to recommending this to me. What do the rest of you think? Did they kill it, or did you just want the hits to end? Regardless, I will see you soon, hopefully tonight for more PBW vs AVW, and at some point this week I'm going to get the Catch Up Chaos episode done, and after that will be my first two-part episode of Metallica as requested by my friend Steve. But yeah, I'll see you all most likely tonight. And as always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye-bye.